The Grapefruit League, as part of a balanced breakfast, is a healthy start to your baseball season, so let's check out all the ballparks that'll be used. Hammond Stadium, Minnesota Twins. This remarkable ballpark was partially inspired by the architecture at Churchill Downs, the famous racecourse. I'm not sure why exactly, it's in another state, but I'm not complaining, it looks great. The seating layout is not anything particularly out of the ordinary. You've got your grass berms, your party decks, that sort of thing. But it does have one feature that you don't see every day, and that is this unusual waterfall thing beyond the outfield wall. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting venue overall. Clover Park, New York Mets. This place was extensively renovated just a few years ago to not only improve the facilities, but remove any doubt as to which team plays here. That is a very New York Metish exterior. It's perhaps not as elegant as the last one, but blue and orange is a great combo. This too has some interesting seating options, such as the Budweiser Terrace over here. Don't worry, you're not forced to drink Budweiser. That goes against the Geneva Convention. Thankfully, the field is made of grass and not clover. That would be taking corporate branding way too far. BayCare Ballpark, Philadelphia Phillies. Firstly, the name of this town is a lie. That doesn't look like clear water to me. The people of Flint, Michigan wouldn't drink that. This venue has a couple of features that are common in Florida, and that is the Spanish-inspired architecture, as well as the plentiful palm trees about the place. I can see why they're both popular. Another common feature is the Tiki Bar. This one in particular is called Frenchies, which seems odd, but then again French Polynesia is a thing, and Tiki is Polynesian themed, right? Nice venue. JetBlue Park, Boston Red Sox. Just like we saw with the Cubs and their spring training home in the Cactus League, this ballpark has been designed to resemble the actual home of the Red Sox, Fenway Park. It's not just the unusual dimensions that have been replicated, but a replica of the manual scoreboard, and of course the Green Monster have been included as well. There are countless nods to Fenway Park, I'm not going to mention them all. There are also some aspects that have been inspired by the local surrounds. The interesting wavy roof, for instance, is, what was it? Something to do with the local trees, I don't know. TD Ballpark, Toronto Blue Jays. This is a similar story to Clover Park in that it recently underwent a major renovation and now looks even more Blue Jays-ish, particularly the rather nice exterior. As for the inside, well, it's just more blue in general. I can't say it's the most interesting ballpark in the league, not by a long way. But I'd imagine the Blue Jays fans that have travelled from frigid Toronto to sunny Dunedin really wouldn't care. This is the only spring training venue that the Blue Jays have ever had, so I think they'll be here for a long time to come. CoolToday Park, Atlanta Braves. Having opened in 2019, this is the newest of the Grapefruit League ballparks, and it certainly looks the part with its wide concourses, huge video board, and the fact that the concrete still has that brightness to it. I'm liking this elevated outfield seating. Yeah, other ballparks have something similar, but this is just a more extreme example. That actually looks like a nice place to watch the game. Overall, it seems like a great ballpark, but one thing that looks a little odd is just the press boxes and suites up there. They just don't look right. Marchant Stadium, Detroit Tigers. This ballpark did used to have a bit of a clunky layout with a detached stand over along the left foul line. However, recent renovations have rectified that, and it's now looking like a more complete ballpark. This too has a Spanish-inspired exterior, which even extends to the video board. No complaints from me, it's looking good. If you happen to be visiting with your family and some of them are perhaps not too keen on baseball, there is actually mini golf and rock climbing here. Personally, I'm not a fan of mini golf. Well, I specifically don't like that the staff give you attitude if you just want to bring your own set of clubs. Steinbrenner Field, New York Yankees. Not to be outdone by the Red Sox, this has the largest capacity in the Grapefruit League, with just a few hundred more seats than JetBlue Park. It too tries to replicate the Yankees' actual stadium, Yankee Stadium. And yeah, it does have that soulless, sterile look down pat, as well as plenty of those iconic freezers up there on the roof. Oh, and of course it has all the top-notch amenities that you'd expect from the Yankees, such as the huge video board in left field. Ooh, they've even got freezers up there as well. The ballpark of the Palm Beaches, Houston Astros, Washington Nationals. Sharing is caring, and this ballpark was a joint venture between the two teams. I suppose it makes sense that the Astros and Nationals have teamed up. After all, without Washington, Houston might not be the home of NASA's Mission Control Center. Would they even be called the Houston Astros if the astronauts were saying, "Cleveland, we have a problem"? Probably not. It's one of the few ballparks in the league that doesn't actually have stands in the outfield, just a grass berm with some outdoor furniture up top. I kinda like that. Roger Dean Stadium, Miami Marlins, St. Louis Cardinals. Miami are the only team that have to travel north to arrive at their Grapefruit League facility. Jupiter is north of Miami, right? Yeah, I think so. The ballpark has an interesting exterior, some of which is the same color as Jupiter. For the most part, the interior layout is quite conventional. However, it does have a bit of a unique situation beyond the outfield wall, where there's not even a grass berm, but there are some parked cars and trucks. Well, I doubt they're a permanent fixture. Ed Smith Stadium, Baltimore Orioles. I'm loving these Spanish-inspired exteriors. They've got the red tile roof and everything. All you need now is some paella and some sunburnt British tourists falling off balconies, and you'd feel like you're actually in Spain. Inside is a pretty clean and simple split-level seating layout. Speaking of the seats, they were actually pulled from Oriole Park, the Orioles' regular season venue. I thought that specific shade of green looked familiar. It did have blue seats prior to the Orioles arriving in the late 2000s. In fact, the ballpark as a whole looks very different back then. LECOM Park, LECOM Park, Pittsburgh Pirates. You may have already noticed that this place looks completely different to all of the other venues we've seen in this video. Well, this place has been the spring training home of the Pirates since 1969, but it opened way back in 1923. So fittingly, it has a minimalistic, classical design. It is actually protected by a national landmark status, but it still has some interesting features. They have a wooden boardwalk rather than a conventional concrete concourse. That leads to some unconventional outfield seating over in left field. Charlotte Sports Park, Tampa Bay Rays. Just like in Major League Baseball, the Rays' spring training facility is a bit of an odd one out. Except I don't think this one is as maligned as Tropicana Field. Immediately you can see that the seating bowl here is very angular rather than rounded, as is the norm. Another distinctive aspect to the ballpark's design is that, oddly enough, it too has a boardwalk. But it's a slightly more extensive one that actually has water underneath. Well, a small section does. Perhaps there are gators, I don't know. So there you have it, the League of Grapefruits and its many ballparks. My favourite of the lot would have to be JetBlue Park. I like the way it includes so many nods to Fenway Park, whilst looking nothing like Fenway Park. Anyway, if you're new, consider subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching, have a good one.